where do you see, the fintech companies in India going? Are they able to culturally, you know, address or embrace this change? Will it take a long time, or are we a different demography?
It's an extremely vast topic to try to address in one panel. What I would just do is echo a little bit of thoughts that you have mentioned, and then put my views on how I see this going forward. Very clearly, social media evolved as a very small group sharing with friends, photographs, and all that stuff, and then has now become much bigger. How it has become much bigger is clearly, from a company perspective or from an organization perspective, you saw groups of people, on social media, so it became one more way to reach out to these audience, and then it became, a two-way interaction, and now it is reaching a level where you are getting more and more confident of saying, can I do transactions in that entire piece? So I think it's becoming much more convenient. The cost of reaching out might not be very low, but the cost of doing a transaction is going to be extremely competitive, and it's creating micro markets in itself, and that's how you see the future. So when you're talking about these banks which are basically working on the clusters being created by various groups within the social media, and then so that's becoming like a micro market. So you can put technology on top of it, and that works like a market in itself where you can exchange and do transactions, etc. So it's moving to that side on the transaction. In India, what is the status right now? In India, most of the organizations, especially on the financial services, because it's largely regulated, and plus financial services, banks, etc., are always last to get onto this kind of a brand wagon for various reasons, brand reputation, risk, etc. And there are so many other issues which could come in along with environments which are not tested and secured. And so I think it's now when so far people are still using it for engaging with clients. So far people are only using to reach out, maybe getting new prospective leads, clients, segmented target, targeting segmented customer base. So far that's where it's reaching out. We have now seen in the last 1.5 years some bit of transactions being enabled. So through various wallets and other means which are based on social media. So you can get your contacts, you can transfer it to other people who are part of your list of contacts on Facebook and stuff like that. So that's also now coming in. So let's see how this will evolve. I think this will definitely evolve. It will always have an angle of which as an overhang on the financial markets is about how secure it is. Do you have a proper AMLA, the anti-money laundering? So there will be always some caps on how much this can happen. So it will definitely take away a lot of lower end transactions, smaller ticket size transactions, make it much more convenient. But can it go beyond that? I think the jury is open, and we still don't know whether we'll be able to go beyond that.
Thank you. Govind, do you ever foresee a situation in the future where social media will be the new bank?
Yep. So basically, first we need to see what exactly social media has to offer, right? So there are more than 2 billion users across the globe today on social media. Companies like Facebook have got more than 1 billion active users today. WhatsApp has reached 1 billion users again. You were talking about WeChat, which is basically China-centric, right? But they have got about 600 million active users. Twitter has about 350 million users. Similarly, LinkedIn about 250 million users. So if you look at the e-commerce industry, they have really capitalized on this opportunity which is available on social media today. If you look at the statements from Starbucks, they say they sell more coffees on Facebook than they actually sell with people walking into their stores in US, right? We know what is happening in e-commerce space in India, right? So what we need to really see is how quickly banks will be able to adopt this. The opportunity is very huge, right? But if you go a little bit back in the past, right, after the 2008 meltdown that happened in US, after that, across the globe, most of the projects that the banks were running, they were only to satisfy the regulator. And in the last 2.5 years, the trend has changed. The digital has become the biggest initiative today. So if you want to get a project approved in a bank, if it is digital, the chances of it getting approved are very high, right? So banks and financial institutions are again focusing on the opportunity that is available, and how do they cross-sell and upsell products to their customers, how do they acquire more customers. And some banks have gone to the extent of actually opening virtual banks on Facebook, right? So my view is that social media is here to stay, right, and it will only grow.